What's up, y'all? Glad to make it another Sunday. Let's talk about it. Again, as you can see, my name is Jasir Franklin. Some people call me Baba Makanju, a lot of those in my EFOC community, my spiritual community, but world renowned, I'm known as Jasir. So I want to welcome you all in to another what we call Reset Sunday. Reset Sunday is designed to expose and identify the PTSDs, which is an acronym for post-traumatic hood disorder. Post-traumatic hood disorder. Reset Sunday is designed to identify these things that hold us back. If you've ever heard of something called epigenetics. Epi means on top of, right? Epi, on top, above. Genetics is below. So epi is on top of your genetics, but the epi is basically traumas and scars mentally and spiritually passed down from your parents to you that are attached to your genes, which is attached to your DNA sequence, which is attached to your ability to live out your purpose. And Reset Sunday is designed to help you to identify some of those things and to do exactly what it says. Reset. I need you to reset so that you can do better moving forward. All right, so again, I want to welcome you in to Reset Sundays. And today's identifier that we want to deal with today is called distractions versus discipline. I have been waiting to have this conversation, so I'm really going to feel this conversation myself personally. If you feel it, that's great. But trust me, I'm about to go in on this conversation. Distractions versus discipline. And as always, before I start, again, please, let's not make Nike and a cheeseburger at In-N-Out or anything else that is so irrelevant to our growth popular. Let's make something like this more popular. Let's make healing possible and popular through your share. So if you know anybody who may appreciate a message like these, send it to them. And for you, I've been checking my subscriptions list. I need to hit 500 subscribers soon. So I need you to help me get there. As a token of your appreciation for the work that I'm doing, please just do me one favor and subscribe to the page. And if you're feeling froggish again, go ahead and share the information. Now, I got to ask you to please excuse my glasses. My other ones were bothering me today, so I have to get these little whack ones, but we're going to work through it. Oh, so let's get it in, though. Distractions versus discipline, or discipline versus distractions, over distractions. So let's get to the core issue of this conversation. If you're ready, here we go, ready or not. The core issue of this conversation is everyone says they want a better life. Everyone, I don't know anybody that says they want a worse life, right? But everybody, despite what position they're in life, they want better. People are always striving to do better, have a better relationship, have a better bank account, portfolio, have a better car, better house, live in a better community, take better trips across the world, better. Better body, more peace in their life. For our spiritual people, have a stronger connection with the Most High. But very few people are willing to practice the one thing required to get there. What's that? You guessed it, discipline. You see, the greatest enemy of purpose isn't always the traumas and the things that we go through that we think are holding us back. And that includes the system that we live in. It's not always the system's a problem. Sometimes it's just maybe your discipline. But we'll talk about that more in a second. The greatest enemy of purpose isn't always the traumas and the things we go through. Sometimes it's just pure distraction. Now, the system may be responsible for the distractions you see. We'll get into that too later. But where does your accountability come in to play when you are the one being distracted? Let's talk about this. You see, the hood doesn't just condition us through pain. It conditions us through the distractions. Now, constant entertainment is one distraction that we deal with. And that's not just a thing that's simply purely more identifiable with us, but let's admit, us in the hood, we have to be entertained. I don't care if it's by the wino at the front of the liquor store that everybody in the hood knows, or if it's BET, if it's rap music, if it's concerts. And do you know how expensive concerts are in LA? It's concerts, it's trips, it's distractions. It's a person that you're with that you know you probably shouldn't be with, but they're distracting you. Constant drama, constant gossip, constant impulses, drinking, smoking, sex, constant consumption. Now, if you're from the hood, you know I'm telling the truth. We have over $1 trillion in buying power in the United States, and a lot of us are proud of that buying power. But all that buying power is really is consumption power. You consume trillions of dollars every day, every year. You spend a lot of money every year to consume. Because remember, it says buying power. You have the ability to buy something, and you have $1 trillion, over $1 trillion worth of buying power. So, constant consumption, Gucci, Louis, Nike, all of these things, trinkets, that really mean nothing. They're distractions. They're shiny distractions. So, discipline, though, on the other hand, what is that? Discipline, on the other hand, is the ability to say no to those distractions. Here's where it gets serious for me. I've learned this lesson the hard way. And the best way is the hard way for me. Saying no is to people who come from a hood mindset is, it's like kryptonite. Discipline to people who come from a hood mindset, people who constantly got to consume, people who constantly have to act on their impulses, people who constantly got to gossip, people who constantly like drama, people who constantly got to be entertained. They don't like no. When I say no, that means like, no, I don't want to be entertained. No, I don't buy things like that. No, I don't want to hear all that gossip. No, I'm not going to buy that just because it's in front of me. No, I'm not going to succumb to your drama. No, I don't want to go to that concert. No, I don't want to eat that. No, I don't want to drink that. No, I don't want to. I want to do something different. Those no's become like kryptonite to people who are consumed by this concept. I constantly say no to what pulls away from my future. And I've been doing it for years. And I've gotten so much backlash. People make me the brunt of their jokes all the time. Like, I always use this analogy because as a vegan, if you've ever gone vegan, you know what I'm talking about. But I like to use this analogy because it was really the pinnacle of my shift in my life, going through that process. Like when I would tell people, no, I don't want to eat no barbecue. I'm good. When I used to go to barbecues when I first went vegan 20 plus years ago, we're sitting in Roscoe's and I'm just here to talk to my homeboy because I'm not eating nothing in here, but man, you not gonna eat no chicken, no waffles? Like, nah, man, I'm good. How you gonna come to Roscoe's chicken and waffles and not eating? It's because I don't eat that, man. I didn't come here. I came here to holler at y'all. Like, being able to sit in the midst of things you used to do and still not partake, yeah, that takes a lot of discipline. And discipline to other people, they began to see me in a different way. And it wasn't good because they figure like, oh, you trying to change the way you used to eat this. They want to bring up old stuff like that matters today. Because their mind can't conceive the fact that I've switched my mindset of what I want to consume and how I want to live my life. I say no all the time to those things that pull me away from my future. Now, here's a couple questions that I got, but here's the opening question I want to ask. What if your biggest obstacle isn't your past, but the things you refuse to stop saying yes to? What is it? What if it isn't a systematic issue? What if it isn't things that you probably have been thinking all this time? Maybe it's something that you keep saying yes to. Maybe it's one of the things I named above, like all of the ability to constantly want to be entertained, the drama, the gossip, the impulsive natures, the constant consumption, all those things. Maybe what if those things are your biggest obstacle? You see, discipline says this. Discipline says that, no, I don't want that fast food. No, I don't need that other drink or another drink or a drink at all. No, I don't want to spend all day scrolling on social media. No, I don't need to watch another movie or another season of Power. Why are we watching that? No, I don't need another hour of gossip. No, I don't want to listen to Snoop Dogg. No, I don't want to go to a concert that talks about misogyny, misandry, violence, drugs, everything we see in the hood. No, I don't need another toxic relationship, even though you find as I don't know what. I don't need another one of you. I've already been there, done that, and I've made a change to do just something different. And I'm going to practice my discipline. Thank you, though. I appreciate the TNA. No, I don't need to chase someone who doesn't value me. No, I don't want to keep hanging around people who celebrate staying the same and not growing. No, I don't want to do that. That's a hard thing for most people to do, to come to that conclusion. Some people see discipline as a punishment or the residue of discipline as a punishment, but it's not really a punishment. It's a protection. You see, every no that you say to somebody else protects you for a future yes that you need to say something yes to. If you're saying yes to the things that you don't supposed to say yes to all the time, you will probably never say yes to the things you're supposed to. Hope that makes sense. You see, distractions, they come wrapped in feel-good nature. Like they feel good. And feelings are not necessarily always real. Notice I said necessarily. Feelings are necessary. God gave them to us for a reason, but they're not there to make decisions on our lives that can be permanent. And distractions come in a good feeling. And that's why they're dangerous. That's why distractions are dangerous. Most distractions don't look evil, they look entertaining even. Like I used to like Snoop Dogg when he first came out because I was in that world, right? His voice was entertaining. It kind of drew you in. It was smooth. The flow he had was smooth. It drew me in. Even Sugar Freeze and people like they're entertaining, and they wrap their dysfunction and their demonic nature of their messages in that beautiful bow. But it wasn't no good. I don't know what to say about this. I'm getting stuck here. Most distractions, they look comfortable, they look normal, and most importantly, they're accepted by everybody else around you. You see, my mother always told me something that made a whole lot more sense since I got older. She used to always say, misery loves company. Anybody who needs to be distracted by constant entertainment, constant drama, constant gossip, move impulsively, constantly got to be consuming some things, they cannot be okay within themselves. Therefore, they need people around them that can confirm how they're living. And if you don't fit up to that bill, you are going to look like the enemy to them. Because misery, as I just said, loves company. Does anybody hear what I'm saying and agree? And I knew Brother Tony had some stuff to say here. Now I'm going to invite people up eventually, but I can't stay today too long because I do have another presentation to do after this one. And it's directly after this one. So I can't stay that long. I'm going to get out of here in a minute. But I will comment. The last comment Brother Tony says is, what should we say yes to? Please address balance. Oh, it's coming, Tony. It's coming. It is coming. Do not worry, my brother. Do not worry. Yeah. So that's what makes them difficult to recognize, because they do come wrapped in such a pretty bow. If everyone around you celebrates distraction, discipline starts looking strange. Others won't know what to do with you. They're going to look at you like you are a science project. If you say, no, I don't want to eat this barbecue at a barbecue, they're going to think you're crazy. If you say, no, I don't want this pork chops on my plate at Thanksgiving, they're going to think you're crazy. If you say, no, I don't want this drink at the bar, and you out celebrating with the homies, they're going to think you're crazy. If you say, no, I don't want to talk to that girl, I'm cool, they're going to think you gay. Because you don't chase women because you want something from them. You chase them because you need something from their character. You don't wife her because of her TNA. You wife her because of her DNA. Clip that. Let's talk about hood programming, though. Many of us grew up in an environment that rewards distractions more than discipline. Entertainment over education, reputation over character, instant gratification over delayed gratification. This is a big one. Looking successful instead of becoming successful, right? Being busy instead of being purposeful. If you never challenge those habits, you carry the hood wherever you go. And you can change your clothes, you can move into a new neighborhood, you can buy a luxury car, you can get initiated to EFI or anything else spiritually. You can go to church every day clean as a whistle. You can wear all white. You can wear beads. You can rock crystals in your pockets. You can quote scriptures all day long. You can quote Ephah verses all day long. You can do all these things. But if your mind is still chasing the same distractions, nothing has really changed. Changing your appearance isn't the same as changing your programming. You have to do what's best for your mind. Now let's get to Brother Tony's point. What should we say yes to? Very good question, Tony. Very good question. And how am I going to answer that? You should say yes to the things, probably, this is going to sound weird, that you may not have been exposed to. And I'm not saying you directly, Tony. I'm talking to those people in general, people out here in general. You see, you can't, it's hard to say yes to something when you haven't had a lot of exposure in other areas. And that's the problem with hood mindsets. Their focus and their understanding is minimal because they haven't been exposed to a lot of things. A lot of people who grew up in, let's just take LA alone. A lot of people in LA that grew up in South Central, they don't travel past the 710, past the 405, or maybe even the 105. Or they don't travel past certain blocks. They kind of stay in their community. And if you don't move into other areas, you don't know what's out there. Sometimes it's a financial crunch why you can't do that. Sometimes it's just that you haven't had the notion and no one around you does that. So you kind of stay in your space. So it's kind of hard to say yes to something that you haven't been exposed to, but you have to allow yourself to be exposed to new things. I want you to understand this. The hood is not the end all be all. I don't care how great you want to prop it up. I don't care how much these rappers talk about the hood. First of all, let me say this again. This is a disclaimer. The hood is not a bad place. I don't necessarily see the hood as negative completely. I see the hood as a great place, and there's a great opportunity for the hood to do even better than what it's done. But at the same time, I'm talking about the things that we know that are implemented into our neighborhoods that do not serve our better being. That's what I'm concerned. So the things that we should be saying yes to, you may not have crossed paths with it, but you will cross paths with it at some point, because one thing about spirituality, it needs duality in order to exist. So spirit is going to show you something different. But the question is, when you are shown something different, are you going to say yes to something different? Or are you going to turn it away because the programming that you've had lets you know that that doesn't identify with how we grew up and where we came from? That's the big question. Now, I want to give you a few spiritual perspectives real quick before we get out of here. When you walk a spiritual path, there are things that you will now be able to get exposed to. Once you walk a spiritual path, there will be things that you will now be able to get exposed to that can provide some of that balance. Right? They will be able to provide you with other ideas to put in your tool belt so that you can make different choices or better choices. But the choice is still going to remain yours. You see, every spiritual path teaches discipline. You have to be disciplined in a spiritual path. Now, notice I'm not saying religious path. In a spiritual path, you have to be disciplined. Why? Because spirituality is all about you. The religious part are the teachings of that spirituality. But the spirituality aspect of it all, you are the one that has to do the work. So if you want something different and the spirituality says this is how you attain that, you have to be disciplined enough to do that, even if it goes against your upbringing, your community understanding, your past way of life. Even if it goes against that, that's where the true discipline comes in. No, this ain't easy. But if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. As I said earlier, See, distractions are easy. Going to a concert and being distracted and all that stuff I named earlier, that stuff is easy. That's why everybody's doing it. Nobody wants to feel like they got to make a conscious decision on their own and live with it. Most people don't want that. You see, concerts and all those distractions they allow you not to have to do that. They allow you to feel good for the moment. But discipline is something different. Discipline takes time for you to feel super good about it. It takes repetition. So in the spiritual world, though, discipline is a mandatory, necessary ingredient. Even prayer requires discipline. You have to choose. That's one thing I respect about the Islamic brothers. They got to get up 5 o'clock and do this thing multiple times a day. You got to be disciplined to do Islam. True Islam. Meditation requires discipline. You got to put yourself in a space where you can be quiet and not distracted and let nothing distract you from this meditation. Not a phone call, not your kids, not your wife, not these thoughts in your head that are just racing. You got to find a way to silence everything. That's discipline. Study takes discipline. Studying something new. Seeking out new ideas. That's discipline. Character. Developing a better character requires discipline, especially in the world we live in today. Your relationship requires discipline if you want a good one, and those who know. You see, Ori is your Ori, and when I say Ori, I mean your head, your mind, your soul at the end of the day, okay? Ori is asking you a question. Will you choose your purpose or your impulses? Let me ask you a few questions. What distraction has stole most of the time from your life? What distraction do you know that you indulge in has stolen a lot of time out of your life? Another question would be, and you can do this exercise on your own and really answer the question for yourself. If you want to share it here, I'll hear it out. What habits keep pulling you away from your purpose? What habits have you developed that keeps pulling you away from doing what you know you came to this earth to do? What do you continue saying yes to that your future needs you to say no to? Which is kind of tied to the previous question. If someone followed you around for a week, would they see discipline or distraction? Now that we've identified everything, right? And lastly, what would your life look like if you practice discipline every single day for the next year? Would it get better or would it stay the same? I'm going to give you a cheat sheet to that question. It would get better. Discipline can only make you better. Distractions can never make you better. It's one or the other. Now, just let me rephrase that. Distractions can make you better in the world of distracted people. You can be a top distracted Negro over here if you want to. And you'll get a Walk of Fame and everything for being a distracted Negro. Trust me. But you can rise to the top as a distracted Negro. Okay? But what world do you want to be in? Because distractions and discipline, they're not cut from the same fabric. Here's your challenge. I want to challenge you all. And again, if you like this video, this information that we're doing here with Reset Sundays, share and subscribe to the channel. I'm not asking, I'm not passing around a collection plate. Just like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. All right. Here's a challenge for you for the next week or so. Again, this is Reset Sunday. So from Sunday to Sunday, here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, I want you to practice intentional discipline. Before every decision, ask yourself this question. Is this moving me towards my purpose or distracting me from it? Is this moving me towards my purpose or is it distracting me from getting closer to it or ever seeing it at all? That one question has the power to simply, realistically change your life. How? Well, it's going to make you accountable, number one. If you stop in those moments before you make that purchase, engage in that gossip, go to that concert, read their social media posts, and you ask yourself, or even if you ask yourself about the person that you may be dating or with or married to at the time, does this person help move me towards my purpose or distract me from it? These questions will hold you accountable. And once you're accountable, you're awoke. And once you're awoke, you have to make a decision. In closing, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about becoming intentional. It's about becoming intentional. You don't build a better future by waiting for motivation to do so. Motivation is a temporary feeling. If you're waiting for motivation, it's going to be a seesaw. Again, you don't build a better future by waiting for it. You build it by making disciplined decisions long after motivation disappears, because distractions entertain you today, but discipline transforms you forever. Now, distractions won't change you forever. You always have a choice to change your mind. That's why we can't say forever in that area. But discipline changes you forever. When you do something with discipline over and over, if you wake up at 5 o'clock every day for 3 months, eventually you will not need your alarm clock. You will just automatically bounce up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But if you don't practice discipline and you're distracted, you went to the club last night, you was drunk, then go to bed till 1 o'clock, you're definitely not getting up at 5, especially if you got alcohol or other substances in your body. You want to go see this young lady and you went over her house and you stayed too late because you just wanted to try to get something. Stayed out too late. Got home about 2, you're not getting up at 5. Now, could a disciplined person still do that? Yeah, you can still do that. But the majority of us, let's be honest, are not still gonna get up at 5. Sometimes you got to be disciplined enough to go to bed at 9 and do your thing, to make sure you put yourself in a position to do what you say you're gonna do. And that goes with everything else. That goes with everything else. The most disciplined thing you can do here, and I'm gonna end with this, is watch the circle you keep. And if you have people that are constantly got to be entertained, they constantly got to gossip, they constantly got to do all this drama, they constantly got to talk about social media, be like, if this is the things you don't want to do, then remove yourself from that equation. I had to eventually remove myself from people who love to eat pork chops and barbecue ribs and ham hocks and all that. I had to do that in the beginning because I was tired of the conversations about my food, number one, but I was tired of watching people kill themselves at the same time. And let me be honest, it did smell good. It was tempting. So I had to remove myself from being tempted by it. But now I don't care. The discipline I've shown over the years have given me this. And I love it. And I love it. I love it. Me being here every Sunday is discipline. Despite what I got going on in my life, and I got a lot of things going on in my life, I'm here every Sunday to deliver this message. If people show up or not, I still do it. If you share this video or not, I still do it. If you don't subscribe to this page or not, I still do it. Why? Because my purpose says this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to do what my purpose says, despite if the world catches on to it right away or not. That's my discipline that I practice. Remember this, y'all. Distractions entertain for today. Discipline transform you forever. If you keep that in mind, hopefully you'll make the right decision. Does that make sense to somebody besides me? I hope it does. And I hope that you will do that one thing I asked you to do, and that is to share this video with somebody. I hope that you will subscribe to this page so that we can keep these things going. All we are asking for is support to feed it. All right. Thank you for joining. Troy and Tony, did you have any closing words you wanted to leave us with before I get out of here? If so, put it in the chat room and I will let you in. I'll give you about 2-3 minutes to put that in there. But if not, I'm going to sign off and say thanks to everybody who watched this video today and to everyone that continually supports our efforts at Heal PTHD. Going once, Tony. Going once, Troy. Going twice, Tony. Going twice, Troy. Who was that? All righty. With that being said, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all. Share this video. I'll see you next Sunday. Hey, just say no. All right, peace, y'all.